This is freaking heinous. This is repulsive. I mean, look at this shit. It's completely out of control. You guys can see this, right? I mean, I don't want to try to convince you. Fuck. I just woke up. I just woke up.
I will not take your shotgun away. I will not take your rifle away. I won't take your handgun away.
In an interview with the Los Angeles Times on April 21st, you said that you told the Associated Press that the American government has created weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Would you explain what you were trying to say?
Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilize it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base with Senator Pell.
I just want to repeat before I turn to...
So yes, but we do have all that information.
You're saying the government has created weather tampering techniques so that the, quote, New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans...
Worldwide.
Millions of Americans, and to control the rest.
Yes, sir, and that's my belief. As bizarre as that sounds, if somebody had told me that that equipment even existed 10 years ago, I would have thought they were nuts, sir. And at this point in time, we have all the documents to prove it. And if you think that 85 tornadoes takes place in the middle of our growing area by simultaneous accident, I'm sorry. With the equipment that's already set up internationally, and as bizarre as that is, it is proven and documented. We will supply you with those documents. As bizarre as that is, I would say that weather wars, and this is quoting actually Senator Claiborne Pell himself, that they are the greatest weapon ever created in the world, and that's the Senator's own statement. So yes, I do stand on that.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
There is a growing citizens movement demanding an explanation of chemtrails.
And I talked to my NSA buddies at Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base, and Buckley, where I was actually their doctor taking care of the pilots flying and spraying the chemtrails. So I know it's real. If anybody says it's not real, they're full of it.
It's not the same as conducting some localized test for some defensive project. This is open air operations. It's not a test. This thing is in place.
It didn't start till about 1996. Exactly. And, growing up my whole life, a condensation trail disappeared, the 20 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. And now it can be in the summer at like 4,000 feet, and there's these big clouds behind jets. Some jets leave it behind, leave a trail behind them. Other jets at the same flight level, same altitude, don't. And instead of just getting into are they spraying us or what's changed in the jet fuel or what's changed in the atmosphere, there are tens of thousands of declassified admissions under different programs where different Pentagon programs, different agencies of the government have tested chemical, biological, and radiological agents on the American people.
Talking about this a few years ago was extremely dangerous. Now that we have YouTube and more social networking devices, such as even Rupert's MySpace, this is really getting out in such a way that they can't control it. They must just be really, if you can use the expression, shitting themselves over this, because they can't control people now talking about the elephant in the room, what is so obvious to all of us.
There's a feeling from that area that the states doing all of these weather modification programs might not be doing it for the benefit of the citizens of Texas and other states that they may impact as well.
Well, many of the planes that we're seeing here in Abilene will actually turn whatever they're spraying on and off right before our eyes. I mean, you'll see a plane up there flying like normal, and then all of a sudden it starts spraying. We've seen them fly off into the distance and then loop around and fly back again. These are not your typical planes with a preordained path destination from city to city. Someone needs to explain to me why do they stop traveling in one particular direction and then loop around and come back again. They perform this behavior so many times that we start seeing the tic-tac-toe grids in the sky. We're witnessing the giant X's. And I mean, Rosalind, when you and I grew up, these contrails naturally dissipated in a few seconds or perhaps a minute max. But these things expand, they grow bigger, and before you know it, the entire sky is overcast.
That's correct. And they are there all day. They do loop the loop around our county and our state. We follow them at times with spotters in different areas, watching the planes loop, come back around. And we know from the FAA records that the jets from commercial airlines fly in straight lines. And coming across our county, there aren't many, and they stay mostly in certain patterns. The jets that we see leaving the persistent jet contrails move in directions that normal jets wouldn't fly because it would use too much fuel and put them off schedule. And the jets that we see here do loops. We've got pictures of them looping the same X's and crosshatches. But I believe that some of that, not only are they looking for keeping something in the air almost all the time, but we feel that some of the markings are to mark the start and stop areas for their program.
As long as grown men are more active in watching sports than getting politically involved, this is not going to change. A real quick story. I was getting my hair cut this morning, sitting in the barber shop. Two men were in there. All they could talk about was sports. So the barber asked them about the kids on the border, and they had no idea what this man was talking about, because all they wanted to do was talk sports.
And that's the problem here, folks. People just want to talk about sports, or so it would seem. But talking about mindless fluff is really a strategy in disguise. It's other people controlling the conversation, because he who controls the conversation controls your perception of the situation. So mindless dribble, like sports, is in fact like watching Evil on ESPN dribbling the ball, going for the score. It's their MO. It's politics 101. Always deny, never admit, and make counter accusations whenever possible, because the best way to deflect attention away from an important issue is by not talking about the issue. If they control the conversation, they control the ball, they score, to use a sports analogy. So see past their deflector shields. Anytime people bring up meaningless topics in response to an important topic, they're evading the issue. It's like pointing in one direction and then running in the other. Look there. See ya. So this is one big smokescreen. It's a smokescreen in the sky and a smokescreen to deny. This is their strategy. And this is how they control the dribble on the court. Again, he who controls the conversation controls the ball, and you can't score in the game if you don't have the ball. So by allowing evil people to control the conversation with mindless fluff, cheap insults, cliche expressions, you are allowing them the opportunity to score points by wasting your time and by having you think about something else other than the topic at hand. They want to degenerate the conversation, to filibuster the debate. Don't walk into their trap. See their game for what it is. For evil is as evil does. Pollution, GMOs, fracking, transhumanism, it's all related. Evil does not want you to talk about the moral high ground of the situation. It wants to talk about sports and television and what's on sale. This is about good and evil. And evil is as evil does. And so if you deviate from their fluff-minded rhetoric, they'll insult you as a means of self-preservation. You're conspiring against evil, they'll say. You're not being trendy enough, they'll say. Forget MTV, ESPN, the sports network. What a joke. And this whole situation is so ironic, to keep you in the dark, away from the light, to transform you into a victim of their disease, to terraform this planet into something sinister and unnatural. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your sky, to your chemically induced synthetic sky. There are many terms for what we are seeing here, but Wikipedia probably puts it best by calling this global dimming, a process of reducing the amount of light that reaches the Earth's surface, an evildoer's symbolic wet dream, you might say, keeping the light out, that is. And you don't have to be a super brain to know what's going on here. Just look up. The skies have dramatically changed over the past 2 decades. It almost looks like something out of the movie Matrix when they scorched the sky. There is an obvious problem here, folks, with our environment, and the mainstream propaganda ministry will have you believe that this is absolutely normal, that there is nothing to fear. Go back to shopping, go back to Doomsday Disneyland. If you listen to the quote-unquote experts, they seem to be saying that treating our air like an open sewer is no big deal, because pollution just magically drifts off into space or something. But this couldn't be any further from the truth. The problem with the air has become so bad it's worse than our water supply. The water we drink is recycled. It goes from crap water to tap water in a matter of minutes. Literally, it gets filtered, but we drink it anyways. And our air is so much worse. And nobody's filtering the air we breathe. It's just pure garbage, straight from the industry and right into the population. And if anybody doubts the health benefits of pollution, then I would invite you to go suck on some exhaust and see how that goes for you.